Hello kiddies, your Uncle Spurt here reporting semi-sloshed from his makeshift studio as always, and boy, wow do we have a show for you lovely c***s this week. Not only did Apple launch yet more shiny expensive bollocks, but we've got a big sexy preview of the Xiaomi 12 series smartphone launch which is happening next week, including a peek inside of Xiaomi's MiStery box. That's really f***ing heavy that. So slap on the waterproof Y fronts, pour yourself a generous pint of scotch and get ready for 15 more minutes of your precious limited lifespan to be curb stomped into oblivion. Techspert Weekly! Now it's that most magical time of the year, kiddies, and no, I'm not talking about Christmas or the day you finally managed to shove your parents away into a nursing home. Nope, it's Apple launch time, the 1st of 2022. Oh wait, hang on, is it the 2nd already? Have I already done this in 2022? Where am I? The star of the launch was this here iPhone SE 3, which looks just like the iPhone SE 2, which looked just like the iPhone SE, which looked just like those mini bricks that Apple used to release about a decade ago. Like, imagine you're 5 years old and you did a really good drawing of a badger riding a camel, and your teacher gives you a B+, mostly because they feel a bit sorry for you, and you're absolutely buzzing. So chuffed are you in fact that you then submit said drawing for your year 6 SAT, and then again for your GCSE art project. At which point someone finally points out that badgers and camels don't even live in the same f***ing continent. So the iPhone SE 3, which of course isn't called the iPhone SE 3, it's just called the iPhone SE because Apple refuses to acknowledge SEO, is basically identical to the 2020 and the 2016 models, except now you've got that A15 chipset and 5G, hooray. At 4.7 inches, it is at least compact, despite sporting bezels the size of Bulgaria. And for anyone who rues the lack of fingerprint sensors on recent Apple blowers, well, you've got one of them again, front style baby. The 12 megapixel camera is a proper throwback too, lacking quite a few recent Apple upgrades, but at least there's no pointless macro bollocks. If you like a bit of nostalgia, you really dig that extreme retro look, then the iPhone SE 3 can be snaffled for 420 quid, as long as you don't mind having just 64 gigs of non-expandable storage. And to be fair, you do at least get a waterproof finish and wireless charging, which are tough to find on a mid-range Android. Apple also launched a new iPad Air with the M1 shoved inside, and you've got yet another M1 SoC called the M1 Ultra, just to confuse matters. You've got some crazy expensive monitors. I'll be honest, by this point I'd had quite a few, and my attention had drifted to my cat who was playing with an old pork scratching that he'd found hidden underneath the sofa. Some my notes are mostly just indecipherable scribbles, occasionally interlaced with drawings of me with a shotgun in my mouth. And that, in a nutshell, is Apple. Thrilling stuff as always. Cheers, Cooking Co. Now, March the 15th, so next bloody Tuesday basically, is finally the global launch of Xiaomi's 12 series flagship smartphones. And to tease/celebrate the launch, Xiaomi has sent me and a bunch of other tech YouTube twats one of these MiStery boxes. And I've got no bloody idea what it is, but it's big and it's heavy, and I'm really hoping I'm going to crack it open and find a shed load of booze and salty snacks squirreled away inside. Looks like we've got some sort of button here, which does f*** all. I'll be honest, I was hoping it was going to like magically spring open or something. Let's see what we got. Okay, not seeing any cans of lager or bottles of whiskey yet, so starting to get a little bit concerned. Maybe if I push the button more, it'll dispense snacks. Oh wait, hang on. Here we go. There's some kind of USB cable-y stuff going on back here. Whoa. Okay, it's all plugged in. It's with some trepidation. I'm pressing the button again. Oh, it's lighting up. 2/3 of it are lighting up. I guess that one's a bit f***ed. So I guess that's it. Well, I'm a little bit more sober now and not a pork scratching in sight. So overall, feeling rage. All right, so can I recycle this or what? Anywho, let's swiftly move on to what we actually know about Xiaomi's latest blowers from the various leaks, and also of course those Chinese models which launched at the arse end of 2021. Now the standard Xiaomi 12 has already set my nipples all a-tingling, as it's almost as compact as the Samsung Galaxy S22 at under 6.3 inches. Alternatively, you could opt for the bigger Pro model, which at 6.7 inches is a proper pocket filler, while Xiaomi may also launch the more affordable 12X here in Blighty. All three of these Xiaomi blowers are powered by Qualcomm's snappy D8 Gen 1, like other flagship smartphones from 2022. The Pro model has a slightly bigger battery with faster 120 watt charging support, and while both versions sport 50 megapixel primary camera sensors, the standard model uses that same Sony IMX766 sensor as found in recent Oppo and Realme flagships, while the Pro model upgrades that to Sony's fresh IMX707, which should be even better for low-light photography and video recording. However, the bad news is that the price could have been really jacked up compared with previous Xiaomi flagship smartphones, so according to a couple of leaks on the interwebs, not exactly gospel, but you know, they're looking fairly likely, the regular Xiaomi 12 will cost €899, while the Xiaomi 12 Pro will kick off at over £1,000. And those are prices akin to other premium flagship snazzy blowers like the Samsung Galaxy S22 family. So if you actually fancy yourself one of these Xiaomi 12 blowers, well, you're probably going to have to start kicking out Grandad's gold teeth pretty bloody sharpish. Anyhow, that's all the tech news I'm going to be bothered with this week, so now it's time for the part of the show that fills me with more dread than the words starring James Corden. It's viewer comments! Viewer comments! So kicking us off this week is Skylord D, who says, "Greetings from sunny Siam." Now this is the kind of comment I can really get on board with, people who live in even colder, more drizzly places than I do. I used to live just a few miles down the road basically from Siam. I haven't been back there in, I'll admit, a good few years, but I bet it hasn't really changed too much. Let's do a quick Google search just to see. Lively? So the first hit where you type in Siam into Google search is Siam, a lively harbour town on Durham's Heritage Coast. Lively isn't the adjective I would use to describe Siam, to be perfectly honest. Don't get me wrong, lovely little town, very nice indeed if you like the colour grey and walks in the rain. And yeah, it doesn't look like it's changed up much at all. According to the Bible, that is TripAdvisor, the highlights are still very much the War Memorial and getting pissed. Next up, George says, watching all the way from Sweden and Germany. And Germany? Are you like the world's fattest man or something? Regardless, hello George. Definitely have to get myself back to Germany sometime. Beer and sausage, yum. And Sweden, I haven't ever been to Sweden. No, I haven't ever been to Sweden, but looks nice apart from all those, you know, stabby, horrible, gruesome murders and all the Nordic crime dramas. I'm assuming it's not quite as stabby as depicted in the TV shows though, but I'm just picturing lots of swords and chilled people basically, which definitely sounds like something I could get on board with. Next up, Leon says, did you miss your therapy session this week? Seems like you had a bit to offload there, buddy. And to be honest, shooting Techspert Weekly is pretty much my weekly therapy session. I just get to rant about all the stuff that really bloody annoys me. Speaking of which, David says, hi Chris, as it's episode 101, what would go into the Techspert Room 101 along with your childhood nemesis, Kevin? Well, probably no one will be shocked to hear that James Corden and Mrs. Brown's Boys would be entries 1 and 2. Along with, of course, massive boxes that don't contain booze and snacks. Whoops. Well, I'm willing to bet that more than just one out of the three doesn't work anymore. Other things that annoy me include queues, dilly-dalliers, biting insects, getting the train anywhere in the UK, because I don't know if I'm just jinxed, but it always bollocks us up somewhere along the route, and I always seem to end up in the carriage with about 3 different Geordie Hindu parties. Brussels sprouts, that god-awful family from the On the Beach adverts, people who talk at the cinema, the ridiculous price of snacks at the cinema, the also ridiculous price of booze at the cinema. In fact, you know what, f it, just put the whole cinema in there. Any tech launch where there isn't coffee and or alcohol. In fact, the perfect press launch just has unlimited espresso martinis. Slugs that hide in your recycling bins. You don't actually see them until you've picked the bin up, at which point, of course, you crush them into a sort of sluggy mush that gets under your fingernails and all sorts. Ugh. Oh, and Kanye West. I think that'll probably do for now, to be honest. I'll probably think of more before the end of the show, so stay tuned. Next up, KH says, as a Kevin who went to school on the outskirts of Sunderland and brought a Ninja Turtles action figure in on Toy Day, this is scarily accurate. I think mine may be through pizza. Oh yeah, I think I do remember the pizza thrown turtles, which, I mean, to be honest, it's not really very canon, is it? Because first of all, none of the turtles would actually throw pizza because they love pizza too much. And second of all, it's not much of a weapon, is it? We're talking like mild cheese-related burns at worst. Maybe a wee bit of jalapeno in the eyes or something. It's not quite the same as Skull and Shredder with a pair of nunchucks, is it? But don't worry, mate, I think you're a different Kevin, so all good. Next up, Dorian says, I remember when MWC was the event of the year. Samsung, LG, Sony, HTC, Motorola, and some smaller players like Huawei. Oh man, do I miss those LG and HTC booths at MWC. Oh, actually, that's kind of a lie. I miss them launching lots of crazy mental smartphones, which were always entertaining. I don't miss running around their booths trying to shoot hands-on videos with about 20 different smartphones while techno music f***ing pounds in the background. And I'm gonna do all that in a sweaty, oven-hot MWC hall with like a half dozen other tech nerds all jostling you trying to get hands on with the exact same thing you're clutching. Oh man, I was earning my paychecks back in those days. Just watch back some of those old Recombu MWC videos. By the 14th or 15th, I was utterly broken. I was a shell of a man. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever see a return to those days. Sadly, the likes of Sony and Samsung, they like doing their own separate events and getting all the attention, basically, and I don't blame them. Seems like a more sensible way of doing stuff. Next up, the Rose family. Hello, Rose family. Says, hi Chris, once again, it's our wedding anniversary. Me and the missus will be celebrating the big event with Techspert Weekly and a bottle of bubbly. Huzzah! Has it been a year already? That is utterly bonkers. So a happy anniversary. You're still f***ing nuts for celebrating it by watching my sweary, haggard face. Jason has a tech-related comment. We were doing so well. How about a review of MIUI 13, especially the cons? No adaptive theming, no control center, no new control center, apologies. No dark mode for individual apps. Oh look, I did it for you. Yeah, the lack of the adaptive theming is a real shame. Not really sure why they've culled that from there. And I'd throw in a couple of other personal bugbears as well, like the lack of a proper always on display for the more budget friendly smartphones. You can only have it displaying when you like tap the screen or lift it, which is really annoying. And also the notification support can still be a little bit ropey until you start like diving into the settings and playing around with the app permissions and all that. But I do like how every new iteration of MIUI feels more and more like stock Android, but with those extra bonus bits chucked on top. So that's definitely good. I just remember the state of MIUI back in the day, and thank God that we are where we are now. Next up, SJSTU says, arses to MKBHD and Mr. Who's the Boss. They don't actually review tech, they just like the sound of their own voices. Saying that, the guy who throws water at him to demonstrate the IP68 has a great job. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've not seen a video by either of those guys in quite some time, so I'm not even sure what the whole water thrown thing is all about. But surely IP68, surely splashing it with some water isn't a true test anyway. You need to actually dunk the bugger. So what you should be doing is pushing the into a swimming pool or something. Inadequate testing, kiddies. Never good. Next up, Amanda says, hey Chris, I've got the dentist and an MOT next week as well. That should relieve me of around 300 quid. Yeah, it's a proper double whammy of shitness, really, to be honest. 100 quid or so to basically have your gums molested for the best part of an hour, and then another couple hundred quid to be told that your car is a rusty turd. Now I know what it feels like to go to the cinema to watch a film with James Corden in it, basically tons of cash just to be tortured and humiliated. Next up, Otaku Anjeru, which I've completely mulled the pronunciation of, apologies, says, well, your videos look way better than when you were in Recombu. I mean, I was basically shooting those with an iPhone with a plug-in mic on a tiny little tripod. So yeah, the quality of the visuals may have slightly improved, but of course the content hasn't exactly evolved much. Still basically just some slapheads swearing a lot and pretending to know stuff about phones. FH Manor disagrees with me though, says, watched your maiden episode of Techspert Weekly, you were talking faster than now. I would say a massive development of your videos over time. But to be honest, that's probably, again, less about my presenting skills improving and just the fact that my brain has started slowing down considerably. But admit this is the last one for this week, because again, massively out of time. You Are an Idiot says, I've been looking for compact phones coming in 2022, and frankly, it's not pretty. Let's hope the classic video on the subject won't be cancelled this year. Yeah, I've done that best compact smartphones video every single year for like the past probably 8 or 7 years, I would say, ever since I started at Recombu basically, and it's more of a struggle every single year. I used to have dozens of the buggers back in the day. Now it's like what, like the Galaxy S22, the iPhone 13 mini and SE3, maybe the Xiaomi 12. I mean, Google kind of screwed me by upgrading the size of the bloody pixels to like almost 6.5 inches. It's sad, depressing times, my friends. And on that cheery note, it's time to end the show and have a quick look at next week. What the f is next week? which of course it's the Xiaomi 12 series launch on the Tuesday, so stay tuned for a shed load of content on those new blows and potentially some extra bits that Xiaomi might be launching simultaneously. And also the Moto G22 is having a UK launch next Wednesday, so stay tuned for a full unboxing and a proper fondle of that bad boy. And please do join me next Friday for yet another TechSpert Weekly. If this shower hasn't absolutely put you off, please do smash some more comments down below. Apologies if I didn't get to yours from last week. So many lovely, awesome comments as always, very much appreciated. And as always, have a fan-bloody-tastic weekend. Cheers everyone, love you.